CryptosRUs, I'm George. We're all George. So good morning. Welcome to another market open stream. Oh, there's the market bell. Best bell in the industry. So let's talk about what's going on today. Happy Friday, by the way. And let's talk about the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, which just turned greedy. So is this something we need to watch out? What should we do about it? Well, let's talk about this and more. So good morning, guys. Welcome. Market bell just rung. Right now it's kind of flat. This morning it's kind of flat. We don't know which way the market's going to go. It could go up or down. We received some good news, some bad news. Let's talk about it. As for good news, PCE data came out measuring inflation. Another way we can measure inflation in the U.S. And just like the CPI data that came out, I don't know, last month or a few weeks ago, I forget when, this shows that inflation is coming down hard. Okay, so we went from like, PCE has always been lower than CPI, but we went from like 6.5% down to 6, down to 5.5. Now we're down to 5. Okay, so again, this reassures the notion that next week, when we have this FOMC meeting and Powell's go do a conference, he's going to announce a 25 basis point hike rather than a 50 basis point hike. Okay, keep in mind, the last one we had was 50 basis point, and one before was 75 basis point, and one before that was 75. I mean, we went up really far, really fast. Okay, so now everyone is predicting that Powell is going to be less hawkish, more dovish, and look at this, 98.1. It went down 1%. It went down 1%. So now there's a 1.9% chance that there could be a 50 basis point hike, but still, vast majority of people think that it's going to be 25 basis points. There are a few that think that maybe Powell's just going to do 0. I don't think that's going to happen. But we're definitely moving in the right direction. So that's fantastic, right? That's really, really good. Inflation not down to the 2 to 3% that Powell wants, but now we're down to 5%. We're not at 9%. So we're definitely moving in the right direction. Now, that's the good news. The bad news is a lot of companies reported horribly. Starting with Intel. Intel just missed their estimates by $3 billion. Intel is a total mess. They really don't know what they're doing anymore. Yes, they're still commanding the market share for desktops, but you know, everything is moving to mobile, and they don't know how to compete with mobile or graphics really. Nvidia and AMD, they both lead in graphics. Nvidia more so in mobile, but Intel is just like lost in that area for some reason. So they're bringing tech down. Chevron, which is of course oil, they also didn't meet expectations, so they're bringing some down. So you got some bad earnings. Silvergate, which is a crypto bank, obviously they're down because they're ties to FTX, and they have just stopped their dividend payments. So that sucks. So now they're down in a big way, but I don't know anyone that was invested in Silvergate. Hasbro, which is the largest toy producer there is, they went down. They're going to cut 1,000 employees because not a whole lot of people buying toys these days, right? And here's the thing, though, too. You know, for those of you guys that have young kids, you know this. Kids are less and less interested in physical toys. They're more interested in games now, right? Especially at a younger age. Moving from iPad games to desktop games to Switch or whatever console games, right? It's just naturally, it's just swing that way. Not so much, I think, due to the current environment, but I think it's just kids are just less inclined to play with toys now. Anyways, that's just my opinion. So you have some bad earnings today that's kind of dragging things down. So we'll see. Today could go either way. Honestly, it could go either way. It could flip back into green, or it could go into red, deep red. We'll see which way it swings. But as for Bitcoin, though, Bitcoin and crypto still holding strong. 22.9. It's been flipping like 22 23, 22.9, right? Just kind of going sideways, consolidating, ready to jump. But because of how much we have come up recently, well, for the first time in a very long time, the greed index, it's not a fear index anymore. It's a greed index. We are officially in greed. Yesterday, we were still neutral at 54. Last week, we were at 51 neutral. Last month, we were in fear. And there were some points last month, we were in like deep fear, extreme fear, okay? How things have changed so fast within a single month, really, right? So why? Why is everyone greedy? Well, first of all, if you're not familiar, how's this judged? Right, this is judged through a few sources. Volatility, right? Seeing how volatility kind of died down, but market momentum, volume, social media, dominance, and trends. Okay, so there's something to that. I don't know about trends or surveys, or I mean surveys they pause, but dominance, social media, I don't know. They're just looking at Twitter or what, but they do their thing to calculate things, and we are in greed right now, okay? I mean, this is natural, right? It's not going to stay fear or neutral forever. People are excited once again. There's hope that we are turning around from bottom and we are heading higher. It's a new year, right? So this is natural. I know some people will start spinning this as, oh no, the market's too hot right now. There's too many greedy people. That means that there's going to be a big sudden downturn. No, I don't interpret that at all. We're just simply recovering from bottom. And just last night, I showed you guys how much some altcoins, and when I say some, vast majority of altcoins, how much they have to go up before even reaching its previous high, right? Solana is like down 90%. Cardano's down 88%. Doge down like 87%, XRP down like 88%, right? So we're barely scratching the surface when it comes to clawing back to previous highs. So no, the market is not overheated right now. We're just simply recovering from bottom, right? And here's the thing. You know who may be driving the market right now, right? Because I still have a feeling that retail is still kind of on the sideline, still kind of scared. I could just kind of tell from the way people are talking. But now, right, there's actually a little bit of proof. U.S. institutions account for 85% Bitcoin buying, a very positive sign. You know, the institutions, the big money, the big whales, they lead. Generally speaking, they make moves before retail investors, right? They want to get in early. They want to get in before the FOMO starts. And we're definitely seeing that already, right? We're seeing big moves, big jumps out of nowhere. And you know what? Look at this. Well, first of all, Bitcoin is on track for the best January since 2013. Okay, that's like 2 cycles ago. But also, just take a look at this. Generally speaking, when Bitcoin goes up, it's tracking the U.S. market. Why is that? It's not tracking the European market. It's not tracking the Asian market. It's tracking the U.S. market, which is why I always cover, what's going on in the U.S. And it's also like going up during the same times too, usually during opening when the market's open. So this definitely shows there's a lot of institutions, a lot of guys from Wall Street that are buying in right now. I think this kind of proves that. There's definitely a huge correlation, right? It wasn't always like this, but ever since Bitcoin started climbing, you could see ever since about, 3 weeks ago, the correlation is uncanny, right? So it definitely shows these big boys are buying in, and they're buying in before retail, right? And once retail investors come in, well, then we'll be at much higher levels, right? So this also explains why BTC dominance has been going up a little bit too. BTC dominance was, below 40% for quite a long time, but BTC dominance has started to climb 42.4%, still way off from previous bottoms where Bitcoin was like a 60, 70 plus percentage in dominance, right? Altcoins are here to stay. They're much stronger than before. So I don't think the BTC dominance will ever get back to 60s or 70s ever again. That's in the past. In the future, probably around this level, right? And right now, we definitely see a little bit more traction with Bitcoin, but that always flips. It always flips to the altcoins. It's always like a thing, right? So yeah, so definitely a lot of buying, right? And this also proves it. This shows the outflow from the exchanges, and we just saw 7,313 Bitcoins leave the exchanges. This is net flow. Okay, so this is calculated inflow and outflow, the net flow. But if you look at it, what's the commonality here? Well, what's the theme here? There's definitely a lot more spikes, red spikes than green spikes, right? And the red spikes are way bigger. And generally speaking, that occurs because you have a lot of institutions buying. Sometimes you just see like $1 billion flow out for no reason, right? Usually it's a giant OTC sale or something like that. But we're seeing that. We just saw that. We haven't seen an outflow like this for a long time. A long time, right? So there's definitely a lot of buying going on right now. And just to show you guys, these are the institutions that we know of, okay? That we know of because they publicly disclose. But there's so many behind the scenes that have not disclosed. For example, BlackRock. BlackRock said they started buying Bitcoin. How much did they buy? We don't know. It could be millions of Bitcoins. We don't know if they don't disclose, right? But these are the ones we know of, like MicroStrategy and Galaxy Digital, Voyager. I don't know what's going to happen with their Bitcoin, to be honest, if it goes to Binance or they go sell it off. But Marathon, we still have Tesla, Hut 8, Coinbase. You go on and on and on with the companies. You got countries, including China now, that has close to 200,000 Bitcoin. I think because they seized it from that one scam company. I forgot who. Ukraine, El Salvador, they have Bitcoin, right? You still have a lot of projects with Bitcoin, even on the Mt. Gox. That's probably going to be distributed, but we're not going to hear anything until September. But even like Block 1, they used to be part of EOS, no longer. They got 140,000 Bitcoins. Tezos have a huge amount. Mass Mutual, huge amount. And then you go into the funds, right, like Grayscale and all these Purpose Bitcoin ETF and all these other ETFs and ETPs and so forth. I mean, there's an enormous amount of Bitcoins locked up by these guys, okay? Enormous amount in a very short amount of time. And again, this is just from institutions that have disclosed. There's a lot that haven't disclosed. So, just to give you guys a gentle reminder that these big guys, these whales, these institutions, right, they're stocking up. And we, the little shrimps and crabs and minnows of the sea, we need to pay attention. We need to follow, or there's just going to be no more. There's none left for us, right? The big guys are eating it all. So, yeah, there's that. What else? In terms of some patterns here, I've been saying how we've been consolidating, right? And usually when we're done consolidating, we make a next leg up. This kind of shows it. Level 1, level 2, right? And we're following the EMA 150, but this is projected, what it looks like, as we recover back up to the 30s, to the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. Probably we're not going to see above 40 by the end of this year. I would be amazed if we go above 40 this year. I'd be perfectly happy if we're 30 or 40 even by the end of this year. But the way we're moving, we could see 30K in near future and possibly in 40K. Now there's talks about hitting 40K in the near future. Let's see. Let's see if it's going to happen. What else? Here's one also. Is this a coincidence or this is by design? But, you know, our 2018 to 2019 bottom, right? It took us 13 months to find it before recovering up. And guess what? It took us 13 months. He miscounted. It wasn't 12. If you count this, there's 13 candlesticks. So it took us exactly 13 months to find bottom and recover, just like before. Is that a coincidence or by design? You tell me. I don't know. But it's too similar. It's too similar to be a coincidence, in my opinion. All right. And then the last few things. As for DeFi, a couple of DeFi news. Aave V3 is deploying on the Ethereum network to obviously boost its liquidity, right? Aave is one of the bigger DeFi lending liquidity pool providers, right? They're on a lot of Ethereum L2s, but also, of course, on Ethereum. So, yes. Polygon also. Their DEX Gains network crosses 1.5 billion in trading volume of Arbitrum. Interesting. And as for Polygon itself, just looking at their daily active users, second most active behind BNB chain and slightly above Ethereum. So this is why I'm bullish on Polygon, because they do have a whole lot of stuff happening. All right, guys. That is pretty much it. Look at the market. Yeah, it's Wall Street is trying to decide, should we rally right now, or should we dump, or should we do nothing? We got some good inflation data showing inflation's going down, and then we got some bad earnings, so market doesn't know what to do. All right, let's do some Q&A. Oh. Bad Sunshine. Good morning. Lion Locks. Good morning. And everyone else on Twitch. Good morning. All right. Let's see here. Patrick, good morning. Still scrolling through here. Let's see. Roulette Wheel, thank you for ending the super chat drought. No, I'm just kidding, but I appreciate it. And I do like playing roulette, although my new game of choice is craps. Craps is an awesome game. But maybe because I had good luck so far. Any comments on the graph? I mean, it's fine. It's a good utility. It helps projects create APIs for data retrieval. That's really it. So it's nothing to be too excited about. George, why don't you ever say not financial advice? Because I'm not giving financial advice. Financial advice will be saying, hey, you should sell your 401k, put it all into Bitcoin. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just simply telling you what Bitcoin is doing. I'm simply telling you what the big boys and whales are doing. I'm not telling you to do anything specifically. You have to make your own decision, which is why, you know, there's a lot of, I don't do a whole lot of trading. I don't say, hey, you know, copy trade me. You know, a lot of other channels, you know, they tell everyone to sign up with their links and stuff, and then they're like, oh yeah, copy trade me and we'll all make money together. That's like more like financial advice. I'm just educating and reporting the news and putting it all together for you guys. Is FUD and redirecting the spotlight from SBF the reason why BNB has been muted on gains? It could be. I mean, there's a lot of fear on Binance now, right? SBF and Mr. Wonderful both have put a lot of fear on Binance. So it could be because of that. Edwin, thank you, I guess. Do you think Bitcoin could get past 23K resistance, or will be a failed breakout? Do you see the Nets and Sixers game? No, I don't. I haven't watched basketball in a long time. And yes, I do think so. I said this yesterday. If you look at the daily chart, you know, you have a lot of these indicators coming down, right? Like Bitcoin overshot. It from a daily scale, it's overbought. But the indicators are starting to cool off, and Bitcoin's price have not gone down. It shows you how strong the momentum is. And when it's ready, it will move again. It just needs to consolidate a little bit, and that's okay. What's the benefit of an ecosystem having their own stablecoin versus making their chain compatible? I don't know. You get to control it a little better, right? If you're integrating USDC, first of all, you have to take all the scrutiny of USDC. Because USDC, you know, is complying with the Treasury Department. They're blacklisting some addresses and stuff like that. So you don't have to worry about that. So you have more control. I'm sure Cardano or Charles and Emergo IOHK, you know, they're working with Cody in terms of better integration with other projects, you know, stuff like that. Alchemix, I have no idea. No idea what project that is. Maybe I looked at before, but I'm not familiar. Noel, do you think it's too early? Do you think that a too early rally could be bad? It's not bad, but if we do have it, then we'll probably come back down from it. So, for example, if we really hit, let's say 40K in 2 weeks or 2 months, we hit it before the second half of this year, I would say then for sure we're going to come back down from there. We're not going to just stay at 40K. We saw something like that happen in 2019 when Bitcoin finally recovered from its 3,000 bottom. It basically went straight up to 14,000 in a matter of months. And then what happened? It came right back down afterwards. It just became too overheated. So if we do see like some crazy rally that should not be that crazy, then we'll probably come back down. But that's okay. Even if we come back down, we'll still be higher than where we are now. Daz, you choose 3 coins to make 10x till 2027. All of them will. Anything in the top 10 outside of stable coins will do a 10x by 2027. You pick. How do you buy Cadena? You could buy it everywhere, Dwight. Binance.us has it. KuCoin has it. MEXC has it. I mean, there's a lot of places that has it. If you're in the US and you're asking specifically, Binance.us has it. Ben Simmons doing Ben Simmons-like things last night. Ben Simmons, at this point, he's a head case. I mean, I hate to say it. He should just think about retiring. He got his money. He has more than enough to survive for the rest of his life and provide for his family if he has one. Honestly, it's like he's too much of a head case now. He's so afraid of doing the wrong thing. He's like the anti-Kobe. Like, Kobe will take shots, like, you know, infinitely, right? Because in his mind, his next one will always go in, regardless how many he's missed, right? Ben Simmons' mind is, is the opposite. The next one is going to miss, so I better not take any shots or even layups. I mean, he's freaking 6'10", and he's afraid to take layups. That's how bad it is. So, I don't know. I don't think he could recover from it. Some people, once it gets in their head, they just can't ever come out of it. Can you talk puts and calls? Dan, there's two ways to play puts and calls. Generally speaking, most people buy calls when they think something's going to go up, right? Like if you buy a call, you could say you could buy a call for Bitcoin at 25,000 in 6 months, right? That's if it goes up, the premium that you paid will go up because you can always sell it to someone else that may want to buy that contract from you because they want to buy Bitcoin at 25,000. That's what a call is. Now, if you buy a put, it's the opposite. If you think Bitcoin's going to go down to 20,000, you can buy a put for 20,000 in 6 months or something, right? But that's buying calls and buying puts. But you could also sell calls and sell puts. And that's where it takes a while for your head to kind of register. What does that mean? Selling a call means that you actually want to buy at a certain point, right? You could sell a call at, say, 25,000. You collect a premium from the buyer of the call for now. That's just your profit. But you're basically saying, I'm going to buy it at 25,000 if it hits that price in 6 months. Now, selling a put is also saying that you're buying it if it goes down to a point. So you could say, I'm selling a put at 20,000 Bitcoin in 6 months. That means you're promising to buy it at 20,000, right, in 6 months. So it's the opposite of what you think. So it took me a while to understand that. But my wife does a lot of option stuff, so I've been paying attention and learning and stuff like that. So that's kind of how it works. But most people just stay with buying calls and buying puts. They don't sell calls, sell puts. It takes an enormous amount of capital to be able to do that. You're risking a lot to make a little. Where buying a put and buying a call, you're risking little to make a lot. It's kind of like that. Hopefully that made sense. What happened to the cost of eggs? There's some kind of chicken flu that's causing eggs to be very scarce right now. Hey, the market's turning green. Did you make money with GameStop? No. No, I never played that. No. Yep, the expirations, the futures, I think options expiration already ended, but futures expiration, I think that ends around 10 or 11 o'clock today. The CME future, Bitcoin futures expiration. I forgot. I think before when I was tracking, it was like 11 Central Time, something like that. So I mentioned that yesterday or the day before, I forgot, about how that could be, once that frees up, that's when Bitcoin could start rolling again. Is DCA a good idea? It's always a good idea to DCA. DCA takes the guessing out of it. In My Hero, Craft's more fun, more social than other casino games. Not only that, you get to control it. Do you realize if you think about in a casino, every game that you play outside of poker, I mean, like, Hold'em poker, but even the other games, every other table game is controlled by the dealer, right? Roulette, someone's rolling the wheel. With blackjack, you're dealt a hand and you're playing against the dealer. I mean, everything is controlled by the dealer, so to speak, because they're the ones that are dealing, right? With craps, it's the only game in the casino where you actually control it. It's based on your luck, like how you roll. And if you're really lucky, you basically stay in the game forever, right? And you can stay in the game forever. I've seen players roll like 30 times in a row before hitting a 7. And it's crazy. You can make crazy money. And it's not just your luck, it's everyone else's luck at the table too. So it's different. It's a very different game than everything else. But of course, you can lose very fast too. But it's the one game that you could stay there for hours and just enjoy it and not lose a whole lot either if you want to just have a good time. But I've been having good luck with it. And I'm not even pro at it. There's so many ways to play craps. I just play the basic stuff. Miguel, thank you. Thank you for that vote of confidence. But no, I don't want Gary Gensler's job. I don't want any of these guys, you know, these politicians. I don't want, or office jobs. You know, first of all, I don't want to be in office. And second of all, as much as we criticize some of these people, like Jerome Powell or Gary Gensler, right? As much as we criticize them, we don't know the immense amount of scrutiny and hate and pressure that they're under. I mean, they're deciding a lot, especially Powell. Powell is seen as the second most powerful person on earth, if you can imagine that. Like, not from a military wise, but what he does with the U.S. economy affects the entire world. I do not want that kind of pressure, nor am I smart enough. I'm nowhere smart enough to do that job. Real winners play Baccarat. I don't know about that. I think that game is pointless. It's like 50-50. It's like betting on a coin flip. That's what it sounds like to me. What happened to your Ecomi partnership? It ended a long time ago. That's what happened. Check out Polygon. Is turning extremely high. I mentioned that yesterday. It started pumping up yesterday, so I'm glad to see it go because it's been stagnant for a long time. I feel like people are giving up on it, but like Polygon has so much going on. I've been saying it's my favorite L2 for a while. We'll talk 1/1 of 2027. That's bottom of the next cycle, right before we start going up. So, because the next cycle will end 2025, 2026 will have a bad year, and 2027 is when we start recovering again. So, it'll be interesting to see what the bottom is of 2026. It depends on how high we go. The bottom of 2026 could be like 40 or 50,000. Have I driven the Bronco Sport? Yeah. Bronco's awesome, especially the Raptor. The regular Bronco is so-so, but you can get a manual one if you want to have more fun. The Bronco Sport is way better than the Escape, but not too impressive. Yeah, I drove many Broncos. Go to my drivers only channel. I reviewed many Broncos. A Bronco Raptor, a Bronco manual, a regular Bronco. Yeah. They're cool. They're cool cars. Built way better than the Wranglers for sure. Drives much better, much quieter. Ford knows how to build trucks. They know how to build trucks. The Bronco, the F-150, awesome. What's my favorite car from the 90s? Ooh, I don't know. Probably a Mustang back then. Yeah, probably a Mustang. Mustang Camaro were what everyone, what everyone wanted back in the day. I have my 95, my SN95 Mustang that I was modifying. Man, I spent so much money and so much time on that car. NFL picks? I have no NFL picks. I don't even know who's playing. The Debt Collector. Hello. Past weeks have been the most stressful looking at these charts with dry powder on the side. That's why you're not supposed to outsmart the market, my man. If you think you're smarter than the market, you generally lose. I mean, to be honest, that's how it is. If you keep waiting for a bottom because you think there's another bottom, it'll never come, and then you miss out on the upside. That's why you DCA, to kind of take the guessing out of it. That's the best thing. Looks like market wants to turn green. Yeah. Ooh, Tesla's up. See, like my wife is freaking out right now because she doesn't want Tesla to go up too high. She's playing a strategy where she's doing a iron condor with her options. So she wanted to just stay between like I think 150 to 160. But now that it went up too high, she may be, she has to figure out what to do. Either take a loss by closing it, or she may have to take on the shares, which would be an enormous amount. So sometimes when you play options, it can get dangerous too. You gotta know what you're doing. But Tesla is doing really well. I, on the other hand, just bought some call options. I want to keep it simple. So I bought some 155 and 175 options for December when it was like 110, 120. And I'm up like probably like 150, 200% now. But I put very little amount. I didn't, only a few $1,000s. So I still made a good amount. But, you know, options is just like, options is supposed to minimize risk. But I don't know anyone that actually does that. Everyone like multiplies their leverage, multiplies their buying power really by playing with options. I'm sitting on a sweet 110 Tesla average. That's crazy. Did you go all in around 110? Because most people, well, no, I take that back. If you've been a Tesla investor for a long time, I mean, pre-split, you know, was much lower. So, yeah, so you're probably, you didn't go all in around 110. You probably just averaged around 110. Does Bill Gates still have his Tesla short? Probably. Probably. I had a Fox body at 91, 325 to the tires, 373 gears. I had a 373 gears. I never liked Fox bodies. They just looked old to me, especially in interior. Didn't like it too much. But yeah, working on that 5-liter was fun. But no one works on cars like that anymore. I take that back. People still work on muscle cars, obviously, but the new cars, it's all about, you know, tweaking the ECU, getting more power, because most cars are turbocharged or supercharged these days, and, you know, that's the name of the game now. Does anyone even do headers or full catback anymore? I don't think so. Maybe a good exhaust, but if I put my crypto on Ledger, it will stay the same price. Yes, Miles. It doesn't matter where you put your crypto. It's still the same amount, and the price is still the same when you need to sell it. Yeah, 325 to the wheels. Well, 325 to the wheels isn't bad because you take out 20% drivetrain loss if you have an automatic. So it's really, that's closer to a 400 horsepower car. Most people don't realize that if you dyno your car, it's not coming in at flywheel horsepower. It's to the wheels, which generally speaking, there's a 15% loss if it's like manual, 20% if it's automatic. With the new dual clutch ones, I don't even know what the drivetrain loss is. Maybe it's less, but there's some kind of loss. Algorand, I don't know much about Algorand these days. I haven't heard much about Algorand, but you know, they're a promising L1, still working at growing their ecosystem. Pretty big in Latin America and NFTs. But the NFT thing didn't really help them when World Cup was going on, which is a head scratcher. You would figure people get more into NFTs because of the World Cup, but they actually went down when the World Cup started. It's kind of weird. Buy a decent vehicle, take care of its stock, buy the right car, and keep it clean. You sound like you'll be a real blast to hang out at a party with. I don't know what happened to Rich Buddy. That's a good question. I love my Lincoln Mark LT. Exotic gas. You know, there's never any like conversations going on in Rumble. There's like 66 people watching, but there's always like 2 people in there, and that's it. I'm not a real fan of Exodus wallet. I had a bad experience with them. That was my like very first self-custody wallet, but then I was hacked. This was like 3-4 years ago. So I don't know how, something to do with the recovery key, a recovery phrase being emailed to me. I'm guessing that's a thing. They have changed. I think they got rid of that. And you can trade directly with Exodus using Treasure, but they're just using, it's not their own DEX. They're using some other company to help them with that. So I'm neutral on Exodus. Any decent airdrops? I never pay attention to airdrops, ever. That is not one of my criteria to look at, I guess, when selecting a project. It's not like, oh, I see, oh, they're going to give airdrops and I'll get into the project. It's not one of the things I pay attention to. All right, guys, let's conclude. Today, market's turning green. We got good inflation data, right? Bitcoin is still holding strong, looking like it wants to itch higher. This weekend could be fantastic. When futures close, when the futures market close, I think around 11 o'clock, we could see some good movement. But if not, Bitcoin's been consolidating for a while. So this weekend could be fantastic. But right now, a lot of institutional interest, something that never was a thing with Bitcoin before. 2017 is zero institutional interest. Now we have so much. But don't let all the institutions stay to eat your Bitcoin away. Don't let them take all your Bitcoin away from you, right? So, all right, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, right? There's no morning bell tomorrow, so 10:30 a.m. And up until then, enjoy your Friday, and we'll see what happens. All right? Smash up the like, subscribe to the channel. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.